We're back here in Concord, North Carolina at the Lionel headquarters for part 2 of our first Collector Spotlight interview with Lionel President Howard Hitchcock. You were just telling us about your favorite car, or one of your favorite cars, the 10th
anniversary celebratory or commemorative car for 9/11. Yes.
Okay. Well, over the years and during your tenure here at Lionel, you've been involved in, I would imagine, most, if not all, of the stages of the diecast production process.
Yep.
What stage of the production process is probably the most tenuous?
Well, that tenuous. I mean, once we have art sort of finalized, there's the handoff, there's the domestic stuff that happens, which is we receive the art from the team, it gets processed through our system, and then we get all the approvals, and of course we hand it off to China, and I've been to China a lot, and when I walk around the factory floor. And the process has changed. We now actually use these really fancy sort of model decals for most of the stuff, and that they're all hand applied and smoothed out, and joints are put together, and you don't even know where they break. It's done so well. But it used to all be with tampo plates, and these were steel plates where you would separate every single color into a different, what they called operation or hit. And so, like if you look at like maybe the logo on the roof, it's yellow, it's black, and there's gradient in there. And so what they would have to do is create a different plate for each one of those colors. And then that would be actually, there was a machine called a tampo machine where this plate was in and there was a bath of paint and that would go together. So the thing that always marveled me, or maybe was the most tenuous, is I would walk around at the factory floor and look at parts and pieces, and obviously I can't read Chinese, but I never really quite get how it comes together, yet at the end of it, there's always the car, and it's 99.9% of the time it's accurate. We've had a couple of notable mistakes over the years, but which actually are more collectible. But the vast majority of the time, I am amazed at how it gets from our piece of paper to a finished product that's accurate, time in and time out, and consistently in a super quality environment.
Is there any one car that we ended up producing that the finished product was awesome, but the process was, for whatever reason, more difficult or challenging than normal?
Well, yeah, there's actually several that stick out in my head. Anytime you kind of innovate on the cars, it's interesting, right? Even if it's kind of simple innovation. So we've had a couple of instances where for one of the cars that was sort of sticks out was the first time we ever merged color chrome and chrome. And it sounds sort of simple, but the way that the process worked in the past was color chrome was the painting with a clear lacquer that gave it the color over a chrome body. But it was an entire vehicle. It never was a piece of the vehicle. And so when we started to introduce the notion of bringing two finishes together on one car, that created a lot of sort of stress. The first time we had to make carbon fiber or replicate carbon fiber on a car was tenuous. Some of our stealth series, which is sort of the matte finish with the all gray, was a process to get through. We've had some color shifting technologies that we've looked at that have been tough. But honestly, the decoration is kind of the decoration. It's when the car changes that actually it gets to be sort of one of the trickiest times, because in CAD things look like they go together, but when you actually assemble these things, there's interactions that you don't expect, or the hood hinges don't quite close in the right manner, and they don't fold down right. The Gen 6 cars and honestly the COT cars have really challenged the factory and us to put them together in such a way that we authenticate as much detail as we can and make them as accurate as we can. The car body itself, when you scale down to 1 to 124 scale, is not that complex. But when you start trying to scale hinges that may only be 2 inches in real life, when you take that down to 24 scale, obviously we're not going to be able to make it in pure scale, but you try to replicate the look of it and the function of it. Or when the rear spoiler is changed to have clear material or carbon fiber material. And so those are the kind of things that actually are even a little bit more interesting than kind of deco.
Okay, cool. If you weren't in this position and were just a regular diecast collector, and with all the pieces that you currently have in your personal collection. What is one piece that you would want to add to that collection to complete it?
Ooh. Well, the thing to me, I think that aside from the programs that I've helped to really bring to life, I think to me the pieces that are the most special are when I meet someone and I have a memory attached to those. So, I've done radio shows and had, legendary drivers sign some things for me, or I've had, up and coming drivers. I remember before Joey Logano was a Sprint Cup driver, we did a radio interview and he was there and he signed something. So, they don't have to be legends. It's just sort of the personal experience. So, honestly, as a kid, when I was, my cousin and I used to watch racing, and this is back when you used to have the old click box on cable and you had to have the selector, and somewhere buried way deep in the back was NASCAR. I would have loved to have met Dale Earnhardt. I never did. And I think that as modern day legends go in this sport, I've met Richard Petty. He's an awesome guy. I've had that wonderful experience. Darrell Waltrip, I have this absolutely amazing framed picture that he autographed for me of a crash scene that his car is tumbling and pieces are flying off everywhere. And I've got DW signed it. It's massive. But Dale is probably the legend, the modern day legend that I never got to meet. And I would like to have had a piece that he had signed for me. And that I think would have really made my collection special. Okay.
What upcoming piece that we have that's coming out in 2016 that obviously that you can speak about, what are you looking forward to the most?
Well, Batman and Superman are out right now. They just came out, and they are amazing cars, and they're going to be available not only in our collectors channels, and I can't tell you how hard the production team worked to get these there for Daytona. Super excited about those. Especially the background of the Lowe's car it's got the fabric mesh pattern from Superman's outfit, and it's super, super cool. So that's a really cool piece. Which was only unembargoed a few weeks ago. The ones I'm actually looking forward to the most, and I know there's going to be great participation in this, is the Darlington throwbacks. And last year, that was a really great collection. I don't think people realized how cool it was going to be, and then there was a big scramble to pick up those cars. So I'm super looking forward to that. I've seen a handful. I know there's a lot more to come. I know a lot of the teams are having conversations, and as the season kicks off here, I expect that we'll start to see those really quickly.
Okay. Over the past couple of weeks, the new NASCAR Authentics line was unveiled, and I think we're through Wave 3, I believe. What do we have upcoming for in the next couple of waves, or is there anything that you can let us know what's coming up in the future waves?
Continuing on the Batman Superman thing, I think we've actually shipped through wave 4, and so the first couple of waves, it's really tricky because by the time you have to ship this product so that it's in place to meet the mass customers' schedules for store sets, you really don't have the new year stuff. So waves 1, 2, and 3 sort of go back and look at the greatest wins, some of the Darlington throwback cars. So if you didn't get them as collectibles on the 24 scale side, they're out there in those first couple waves as 64 scales. So that's cool stuff. When the movie hits in March for Batman Superman, there's going to be a sidekick, which is a special display in 1,200 of the Walmart stores. So, and within that, there's a hunt and chase within the little trinkets that are added to the 64 scale. So you have to kind of find multiple ones to sort of get the full collection of stuff. While there's only really 2 cars involved. There actually are more than that in trinkets. I think there's actually 6 or 8 different trinkets, maybe even more. So they're coming up and cool. Then we'll start to see the 16 cars as they come into the marketplace. And then from there, we'll start hitting things like Kyle Busch Champion will be around. We'll have the Daytona 500 Champion buried in there, which of course we don't know till a week from this coming Sunday. There's going to be we'll do the throwback cars. There's going to be the brand specials. So it will really replicate our core line of collectible products, and we're really looking forward to it. The team and myself worked on Winter Circle back when it was Winter Circle, and then when Spin Master took it over, it became NASCAR Authentic. So we're really pleased to have it back in our court.
Wonderful. One last question, then I'll let you get back to your day.
Okay.
How has our diecast side of the business benefited from its partnership with Lionel Trains?
There's actually a lot of ways. So the business, every business is cyclical, and what's really great about the diecast business versus the train business is our cycles tend to offset each other. Meaning, unlike most stick and ball sports, Daytona is our biggest sort of part of the year. We kick off the season with the big game, or what might be considered the Super Bowl or the World Series, and that starts in February, which is one of the slower time periods for the train business. And so we're able to leverage a lot of skill sets in what we would call shared services, things like distribution, IT, the finance and accounting side. So from a business perspective, we're really able to leverage the availability of different departments because of the seasonality. The other thing we're able to do is we're able to leverage logistical type things. So shipping, containers. If you have a half full container of one and you have a rush item, you can load something on another container. We have shared factories, so we're able to leverage our strength in our business with a factory. We're able to have people on the ground to check things out for us because we have a staff of people that are dedicated to Lionel available in China 365 days a year. So there really are a lot of benefits. I think we're starting to look at technology that is in the train side and how we could possibly bring that to the car side to make things cooler. At the same time, the train side's benefiting from the technology and knowledge that we have around decorating. So it's really a very complementary business. Super happy to have both pieces. There's been a lot of excitement around, just different processes and procedures, and we learn from each other, and we take the best of whatever and apply it to both businesses. So it's been a good experience.
Well, thank you, Howard. Thanks for being our first guest on our Collector Spotlight series of interviews.
Absolutely enjoyed it.
Thanks.